I remember the day it all came crashing down like it was yesterday. The sun was setting, painting the sky with hues of orange and purple as I walked through the door of our home, tired from a long day at work. I had been looking forward to a quiet evening with Emily. We had been married for 5 years, and I'd always felt that we were solid, like we had a strong foundation built on trust, love, and mutual respect. But that day, something felt off. There was a coldness in the air, an unspoken distance that had been creeping between us for a few weeks now. At first, I thought it was just the usual ebb and flow of a relationship. Everyone has their ups and downs. But deep down, I knew something was wrong. When I walked into the living room, I saw Emily sitting on the couch, her back to me. She looked like she had been crying, her shoulders hunched, her face pale. My heart sank. I wanted to rush over to her, hold her, ask her what was wrong, but there was a strange weight in the air that kept me rooted to the spot. "Emily," I said softly, stepping into the room. "What's going on? Why do you look like that?" She didn't turn around immediately. I could see her taking a deep breath, as if she was gathering the courage to face me. Finally, she looked over her shoulder, her eyes red and swollen. She said nothing for a long time, and when she did speak, her voice was barely a whisper. I, I've been thinking about us," she started, her hands trembling as she wiped her tears away. "And I don't know how to say this, but I think I've made a terrible mistake." I froze. My mind raced, trying to figure out what she was talking about. What mistake? Was she talking about the fight we had last week? Was there something bigger I didn't know? Before I could ask her what she meant, she stood up slowly and turned to face me fully. The expression on her face was not one of guilt or fear. It was something worse. It was resignation. "I've been seeing someone else," she finally said, her voice cracking. The words hit me like a punch to the gut. My knees felt weak, and I had to grab the back of the chair to steady myself. I couldn't breathe. This couldn't be happening. Not to us. Not to her. For a moment, I just stood there, staring at her in disbelief, as if I was waiting for her to laugh and tell me it was all a joke. But her face remained unchanged, her eyes downcast, unable to meet mine. I wanted to scream, to demand to know how long this had been going on, who he was, why she had done this to me, to us. But the words wouldn't come. I didn't want to hurt you," she continued, her voice shaking. "It just happened. I didn't plan for it, but it was like a moment of weakness. I never meant for it to go this far, but it did." A cold fury began to rise within me, but I couldn't even begin to process it. I was numb. My thoughts were scattered like shards of glass, too sharp and painful to hold together. I managed to speak, but my voice felt foreign. It was hollow, devoid of the anger or hurt I had expected to feel. I asked her the one question that had been gnawing at me, the one thing I needed to know. "Who is he?" She hesitated, her lips trembling. "His name is Jake. He's a coworker. We've been seeing each other for the past 6 months." 6 months. 6 months. I could feel the world tilting beneath me, as if the floor was giving way and I was about to fall into an abyss I couldn't escape from. 6 months of my life spent loving and trusting her, and she had been betraying me the entire time. The silence between us stretched on for what felt like an eternity. My heart pounded in my chest, and all I could hear was the sound of my own breath, ragged and unsteady. "You're telling me this now?" I finally managed to say, my voice low and dangerously calm. "After all this time, after everything we've built together, you just tell me now?" "I didn't know how to tell you," she replied, her voice breaking. "I was scared. I didn't want to lose you." "You have lost me," I said quietly. I didn't even recognize my own words, but they felt true. This wasn't the woman I had married. This wasn't the person I had given my heart to. Her eyes filled with more tears, and she reached out to me, but I took a step back, almost instinctively. I couldn't bear her touch right now, not after everything. "I know you're angry," she said, her voice barely audible. "I'm so sorry. I never meant to hurt you. I don't want to hear it." I cut her off. I don't want to hear your apologies. They mean nothing right now. I turned away, walking toward the door, needing air, needing space. I needed to get out of that house, out of that reality. Everything I thought I knew had been shattered in an instant. Where are you going? Emily's voice echoed from behind me, filled with desperation. I didn't answer her. I just left, slamming the door behind me. It's been a few months since that night. I've moved out.